My name is Joyce Miranda, and welcome to Break the Code, an immersive experience where we talk about our issues and perspectives in today's society. Today, the topic is this really my new year? So before we begin to break the code, let's start with the panelists giving a brief introduction about themselves. So we'll start with TJ.
How's everybody doing this evening? TJ Tajani, and originally from Nigeria, but born and raised here in Houston. Graduated at the University of Houston as well. My background's in engineering, which is where I got my degree in mathematics as well. And I eventually got into real estate investing back in 2015, and started cutting my teeth in that, and scaled a short-term rental portfolio here in Houston. Got into Airbnbs around 2017, and now we focus on acquiring commercial assets like boutique hotels and sorts of like that. And so then I got involved in a couple other businesses too. So, yeah.
Thank you. That was a lot. Congratulations.
I'm like, what am I not
Very
doing?
impressive. I was like, oh. My name is Veronica, affectionately known as Ronnie. I'm originally from Detroit, so I'm kind of relatively new here to Houston.
Welcome to Houston.
Thank you. I'm a professor at Sam Houston, and I've been owning and operating my own business in design for UX UI for about 8 years. Just came here from New York, so it's been a good ride.
What's going on, guys? I'm Damon Martin, and I am from Houston, Texas, as well. And I've been a coach for 11 years now. So fitness professional, all things, from nutrition to mindset to working out, you name it, online, in person. That's my backdrop, and that's where we taking it.
What's up, everybody? My name is Derek Abekwe. I'm a day trader, former professional and Division I athlete. I've been day trading for full time about 4 years. From Houston, Texas. So, like I said.
So, how are you guys doing today? Don't break out into tears, because I almost did. But Damon, you can go first since you have the mic.
Oh, all right. Well, I am doing amazing. Really excited for the closeout of 2024 and for 2025 coming up. Some new works in the works and some great results this year that I'm really proud of myself for, just like I'm sure a lot of you here are. I'm really looking forward to this discussion because I know this new year is an exciting point in my life where a lot of transition is happening. And I'm really, really locked in to see that come to fruition.
I am focused on relaxation.
Nice.
So I want to go
We're
into
finishing off the year resting.
Yeah, I want to go into the new year rested. I'm on break right now. That's like the benefit of being in education is like I have a month off to start the new year. So I'm just focused on juicing, getting my skin together, getting in a routine. Yeah. Like I want to wake up. I actually don't even want to party. I really just want to be in my pajamas, just chilling, vibing.
I love to hear it.
Are we asking how we're feeling for the new year?
Yeah,
or what?
how are you doing? And maybe any new projects that you're probably working on?
Oh, yeah. I'm doing great, feeling great. Really excited for 2025 for sure. Got a lot of dope projects. We're teaming up a couple of companies that my business partners just started up. And I'm been in real estate. I mentioned that earlier, but this is my first time getting to some ground up construction. So we got pretty cool projects in the inner city part of Houston that we're getting going. That's going to be coming out of permitting soon, so I'm really excited about that.
That's really good. How about you, Derek?
I'm excited about the new year. Like I said, I have a lot of forward movement as far as where I'm going. I started a couple of new businesses, which is great for me as well too. I'm just really putting myself in a better position to win this year, man. 2024 was an amazing year for me. A lot of self-development, a lot of growth in the right direction. So I'm really just excited. Trying to keep the same steam for next year to make sure that I'm in the same position or even a better position.
Nice. Hold that mic for me, Derek. Reflecting on the past year, what is one major lesson that completely shifted your perspective, and how do you plan to apply it moving forward?
One major lesson, one thing that kind of helped me for this new year, or well, at least last year, was more just execution. I feel like everybody in their head has a goal or has something they want to do, whether it's a business idea, whether it's, a certain task they want to accomplish. One thing for me that was really pivotal, that really changed my trajectory, was anything that kind of God put in my head, I just executed. I stopped thinking and overthinking. It could be just simple as like a post or an idea where you're like, man, I want to make this content for my business, or I want to make this content, whether it's a fitness content or anything of that nature. I just was focused on more of the execution. Like
So
whatever's.
what does execution look like for you?
Okay, so for me, like I said, I'm a day trader, right? I was always kind of struggled with making content. Like that was one of the things that I was always like, I wanted to do in my head, but I just didn't really know how. And I always had that kind of paralysis analysis where it's like, idea will come in my head, but so many like doubts or, something would just come up to make me think like, nah, I'm not gonna do it, One thing this year that helped me was I stopped thinking and I just said, you know what? I'm gonna try every single day and I'm just gonna be consistent. I'm gonna make it to the point where every single day I'm gonna post. Every single day I'm gonna show up for myself. Those consistencies made a difference because every single day I make it a non-negotiable and I show up for myself every day. So that's something that helped me.
Thank you for that. Ronnie, do you mind answering that question as well? Reflecting on the past year, what is one major lesson that completely shifted your perspective? And how do you plan to apply it moving forward?
I gave up the hustle culture, which is ingrained in me because I'm from Detroit. I don't know if y'all know, but if you know, you know. But it's like, ultimately, as a millennial, I'm 32. I don't know how old you guys are. But I shifted from my senior leadership position to being in education, which was an automatic pay cut because I was working 2 full-time jobs. So I was teaching full-time. I was working full-time. I had a team of designers that was global, so in Germany, everywhere. And then I was clients full-time, which my clients were like Siemens, like big productions in New York, freelance. And I was so exhausted.
Yeah.
Like I would be in a lecture getting pings from my job and I was getting like physical angst, like my students, cause they were like, we know you hate your job. How can we get a job when we graduate that we don't hate like you hate yours? I was like, so I actually made that shift and I took a huge pay cut, but I literally don't feel like I work anymore. I feel like I'm doing something that I enjoy doing. So that was my biggest lesson is you can make money, but if it's sacrificing your mental health, I think that it's no longer worth it for me. So yeah,
you should definitely cut down, right?
Yeah, 2 full-time jobs is crazy.
Yeah, and realizing that we are in a culture where we're overextending ourselves, so we really can't truly focus. So thank you for that. What future challenge or risk excites you the most, and why do you think it's important to face it head on?
That's for me
answer
as
it.
well.
Yeah.
I am embracing being by myself, and not to be too deep, but like I'm a dating girl, so I'm excited to literally just focus on my new career, which is education, focusing on, I bought my first house this year or last year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm focusing on being like more in tune with myself and getting to know myself in my 30s because I'm like a relationship girl, so I've always been in partnership. So this is the first time I'm really focusing on myself and getting to know Ronnie as a person, doing one job, one band, one sound, one thing. So yeah.
I love that. Mr. TJ, reflecting on your past year, what is a major lesson that completely shifted your perspective?
And it's kind of true that I kind of want to touch on something that he mentioned.
Please go ahead.
Because he talked about about posting and how he decided that he's just not going to negotiate with himself and he's going to do it. And I think that's something that's interesting. I was talking to one of my students about something similar the other day because the reality is that when we, in our jobs, a lot of times we have day jobs and our 9-to-5s. We have supervisors and our managers. If we are tasked to do something, guess what? We're going to do it. If our supervisor asks us to be at this meeting, go do this thing or whatever the case may be, we're going to do it. Why? Because it's our job. That's how we get paid. And even though lives and things happen in life, we usually tend to revolve our life around our job. That's still non-negotiable that we need to get done what we need to do with our job, per se. But the thing is that when we decide to build something for ourselves, then we start negotiating with ourselves. And we know that, okay, this is the things that I need to do today. We say, okay, and life's just the same, we tend to say, okay, I'll put this off, let me go do this, I'll put this off. And I think, we don't really tend to move the needle until we decide that we're not going to negotiate with the things that we decide that we're going to build for ourselves. So yeah, I just kind of want to piggyback on something that he mentioned for sure.
I love that. And so what future challenge or risk excites you going into the new year? And what do you think you'll do to face it head on?
Yeah, something that I know that, is, I guess it's still a challenge for me is, I don't know, when I like to build something, and I definitely like to work smart, I don't like to overwork myself too much. And the thing is, when I build something, I decide to get into a business venture. That's why I say no a lot. But when I do decide to get into a business venture, I like to build businesses that I can fire myself in, if that makes sense. So the thing is that it's important to get in the weeds and know aspects of your business for sure. But the goal is to start delegating. You start to take different hats off. This person wears this hat now. Now you hire this major virtual assistant, whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, the goal is to fire yourself, and that's something that I like that we tend to focus on when we look into opportunities and businesses for sure.
I love that. You can pass the mic over to Damon. So Damon, reflecting on the past year, what is one major lesson that what is one major lesson that completely shifted your perspective and that you plan to apply moving forward?
Destination U. I recently went on a trip to Costa Rica, and I did a challenge recently as well, for everybody on my team and a lot of new people as well. And the whole theme was about, that travel destination is you. That has been a struggle for me, I would say, since 2021 till now, where I noticed, all right, you know what? I got to get out of the pleasure zone, because that's typically what happens. You make a little bit more money, start doing a little bit better with whatever business career that you're in, that you start to take for granted, the gifts that God gave you. And in this challenge, I prioritize that theme for the reason of dialing back in to you being the priority in everything. So for me, that biggest challenge that I was dealing with was getting comfortable with the success that I was having as a coach and recognizing, okay, this new normal is not good and conducive to the you that you really want to be. So, I designed it with the mentality of like, okay, who do I really admire? Who do I really look up to? I don't see Denzel Washington, who's now, about to become this ordained priest or minister, and I don't look up to these people like Dwayne, and I think like, man, when I meet them, I'm gonna invite them to the club, So I was like, all right, you know what? I need to dial in on getting back to my roots, why I'm here, what my purpose is, and to impact people to the degree that is legacy, So for me, that biggest challenge was, prioritizing pleasure, success versus like where I am now is making sure that my motives are pure and that every business that I branch out and create, whatever creation that I create, is coming from a standpoint that's consistent and rooted in character, with integrity, with morals, ethics, values, that I know my team and everybody that I recruit or any business that I create and all the people involved can look behind the scenes and see on the scenes, behind the scenes, this person's dialed in on those morals, ethics, and values. So Destination U is a mentality of like you dial in on the blood that we all share, generationally, past and future and present. So I'm still working on it, as we all are. But that's one of the biggest things that I realized is just too much pleasure, time to dial in and really take it to where it's more meaningful and impactful. So,
Why do you think many people hesitate to pursue their goals even when the right opportunity is in front of them? And how would you break this mindset as a coach?
Oh, that's beautiful. I think that people are so attached to who they were, their upbringing, right, their knowledge, right, and it's kind of scary to be like, man, my identity, which is a construct of programming from your parents, guardians, stewards, right? It's kind of scary to say, you know what, maybe there's a higher person, which is not a maybe, it's a certainty that there's inside of every one of us a person that can truly impact on a level that God can make use of, or let's say the universe, regardless of what your belief or ideology is. It's that programming. If we're so stuck on who we were and who we think we are that we forget, like, you know what, maybe I can completely change the narrative. And so, to really break that, you got to be in admiration versus envy, jealousy, strife, and substitute those negatives with the contrary and start to associate your time, your energy, your existence with those environments, whether that's a person, a book, a podcast, or going to a community or multiple communities that are geared set towards that admiration that you claim, so oftentimes if you can't do it on your own, you got to position yourself according to where you want to go, truly. And you can't shortchange yourself. You got to be honest. You got to truly take ownership and recognize if I really work for me and I work with me, I wouldn't be having these issues. I wouldn't be having these questions. So, it just takes a lot of dying to what you were and who you are to give birth to who you are designed to be.
Thank you for that, Damon. Derek, why do you think many people hesitate to pursue their financial goals, even when the right opportunity is in front of them? And how would you break this mindset from a financial perspective?
Just to kind of touch up on what you said as well, too, about the identity crisis. For those who don't know, I used to be a former Division I athlete and professional athlete. And one thing that was kind of hard for me was restarting over, seeing that, 15 years, I was playing football where that's what everybody knew me for. I always thought, okay, I'm going to make it to the NFL or, I'm going to be this big football player down the road. At least that's what I always thought. Yeah. And then when that all got stripped away from me, it's kind of like I had to start over and, rebrand, The hardest part about it, I think it is whenever you go into a new industry or you're trying stuff out or you're trying to start a new business, I think everybody has this fear of being kind of seen at the bottom, right? And I think that is what's kind of holding people back, because I know I had that. It was like, yo, I'm restarting, trying to rebrand myself and being seen at the bottom. Nobody wants to be seen at the bottom, and I think that's the fear that everybody has. But to kind of touch up as far as financial goals, one thing that kind of helped me was just separating myself and putting myself around the right individuals. One thing that I learned is I gotta, not be prideful, right? There's a lot of individuals that have way more success than me, and they could be younger, right? And I realized for myself, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put my pride aside, and if I see somebody doing better than me, I'm gonna ask questions, even if they're younger than me. And I think what a lot of them, I would say myself, like a man, you have that pride where you're like, yo, I don't wanna ask nobody, or I don't wanna come to anybody and try to get information. And I understand that information is what separates a lot of individuals. Some people may not know how to make, $5,000+ right? And there's individuals that, they're making $50,000, $100,000 within a month, but because, you don't want to learn that information can be the difference in the deciding factor. So one thing I learned for myself is surround myself with individuals that have the success that I want and not be so fearful to ask questions, right? I put myself around individuals that were making, 20, 30, 40, 50K a month, and they're 23, 24. So being around that environment, it kind of shaped me. So, oh man, I was able to get to that point. You see what I'm saying? So
How do you overcome the fear of taking risk?
I think it's just faith. You know, I have faith in God. I have the utmost faith. God is literally what I, put everything in. And one thing about me, I'm always going to, strive to put my best efforts in everything I do, right? I feel like whenever you follow God, you got to have that faith that, hey, regardless of me failing in front of the world or regardless of what may happen, adversity is always going to strike. Discomfort is always going to strike. You're always going to go through trials and tribulations. But when you have that faith in God, God calls us that, hey, you know what? Even if there is a storm, God's going to be with us in the storm. He's never saying that he's never going to go through a storm. He's always going to tell you that, hey, he's going to be with you in the storm. And having that faith in God when you're going through stuff, even when things are going left, you're broke, sickness, health, that right there is my foundation, and that's what keeps me going.
Mr. TJ, why do you think many people hesitate to pursue their goals even when the right opportunity is right in front of them? And how would you break this mindset?
I think people kind of misunderstand the math when it comes to actually making money. When it comes to financial goals, so most people associate making money with time. It's like work more hours and make more money. Yes, if you work more hours, you will make more money, but that's not the real math when it comes to money. The math is become a person of value and watch the money come, and the money will flow. And the thing is that, and that's why it says, trust me, I'm not trying to get spiritual, but at the end of the day, the Bible says we perish from a lack of knowledge. It's not perish like a literal death. It's perish in a sense of lost opportunity, lost income, lost relationship, because of a lack of knowledge of what we don't know. So when you decide that I'm going to become a person of value, how you do that into increase intellectual acuity, invest in yourself, learn, study your craft, be a student of the game, and add value to the marketplace. Who's the marketplace? Outside, everybody, social media, the people you come across. The more valuable you are to the marketplace, the more money will come to you. So that's the real math. And so I think most people get that wrong.
So how would you respond to someone who says they lack time, money, or resources to achieve success?
They don't, though. That's the thing. They don't. Nobody lacks time, money, or resources. And the thing is that you don't even have to have all of it. One of the things that we're big on is partnerships. And the thing is that, for example, in my world in real estate, I don't have to bring every single thing to the table to make a deal work. If I bring, you need the knowledge and experience, you need the time, and you need the money. But I don't have to bring all three. I just have to bring one. So I decide to invest in my knowledge to get good at what I do. So it's easy to go raise capital, right? And it's easy to go find partnerships with people that can partner to invest time to make the deal work. So partnerships is for one. And trust me, if there's no such thing as there's no time for what you're trying to build.
Thank you for that. Ronnie, we talked about societal and personal norms. What is one societal or personal norm you think we should all question before stepping into the new year?
I'm such a controversial. One societal or personal norm that we should ditch before going into the new year?
Correct.
So many. Hustle culture should leave.
Can you tell us what hustle culture is?
That you have to burn yourself at both ends in order to be successful. You have to do a million things in order to be successful. I think that women should ditch the notion of being in partnership is the best reality for you to be financially stable as well. I think that's actually on both ends. Men and women are prioritizing relationships without getting to know themselves. And I'm guilty of that as well. I just turned 32, so like a lot of the things I've been thinking about are like societal norms, like you should be married, have a house and stuff by 32. So I'm kind of like debunking my own theories as well.
Yeah.
And then also I really want social media to die. And I don't mean this in a negative way. Like I know we make money off of it, but like the highlight reel that we're all achieving right now, the veneers, the BBLs, the money culture, I just want it to die. I just want us to get to know each other in an authentic, organic way and stop looking at other people's successes as the normal. It's very toxic.
Yeah.
So,
Why do you say it's toxic?
I deem anything as toxic that diminishes anyone else's self-worth. And I think social media can diminish your, I'm speaking from my own place of safety. I will look at social media and like go into a doom scroll and start to think like, dang, I'm 32. I should have a Benz, shouldn't I? I can go get one tomorrow. Let me go get one. And then I'll wake up and think like, I don't need a $1,200 car note. Like, what am I? Because you're conditioned like subconsciously, like it's always accessible. And we're all guilty of that. Like even my students, like, listen, I have a student that is, she has 150,000 social media followers and she has a GLC Mercedes-Benz and she is a junior. And I'm looking at her like, Catherine, God damn it. Like, should I be doing what you do? But like, that's what social media and like that, and like, it makes you think that no one knows that Catherine is full of debt and she got that for like likes. Like
Correct.
She's literally working on campus to pay that car note. It's crazy. So sorry I'm long-winded, but I hope I answered the question.
Working in tech innovation, how do you feel like we've actually approached 2025, we're approaching a new generation of babies, right? And tech is actually taking over, How would you say we should keep up to date going into the new year with technology, but also staying off of social media?
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm spearheading at SAM is a AI class. We're really trying to get our curriculum together to be one of the first universities that's going to offer a bachelor's in AI. There's an HBCU that has done it, but I'm really trying to get our faculty to understand the importance of being in partnership with AI. Because I'm a graphic designer by profession, and our fear is that there are a lot of different plugins like Adobe Photoshop, Illustrator that are AI generative, and so the fear is that, oh my gosh, they're going to take our jobs, but we still need that human touch. Correct. So I work in partnership with technology all the time. I use AI to do grocery shopping, financial budgets every week. My schedules when I am working, I do my schedules with ChatGPT. So one of the ways to get ahead of technology is to work in partnership with. So instead of being fearful of it, become familiar with it. And I think that that's like a commonality that you can approach with many different theories, like finances, day trading, coaching, fitness. Instead of being intimidated at the gym, you can go on TikTok and get familiar with some of the things you can be doing. Even real estate, when I bought my first house, it was very intimidating, but now I feel like I can buy another house if I want to. I won't be, but so working in partnership with. Yeah.
So based off of what you just said, you mentioned a couple of tools and resources that could help make our lives easier, right? What are some tools besides ChatGPT that you use in regards to artificial intelligence and incorporating it into your daily life or business or education?
One of the biggest tools I use is my Bible.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Because there's a gray area when you get into AI. There's a lot of things that you can ask AI to do that might be a little on the controversial side.
Correct.
But besides ChatGPT, I use Midjourney for my inspiration for like color palettes. I use Adobe Firefly. I'm not a Canva girl. I probably should be, but I don't really like Canva.
Yeah.
Those are really like, I use Good Brief, which is a tool for like, if you want to become a graphic designer or you want to design, it spits out creative briefs for you to like practice. I use that a lot. I'm very bare minimum when it comes to like, that's it. I don't use a lot of them. I use my Power 2.
Thank you for that. We appreciate it. Hopefully y'all wrote those down? Did y'all write those down? Okay, thank you. That was for y'all. So let's go ahead and, Damon, I have a question for you. Resolutions often fail. In your opinion, what's the difference between a resolution and a sustainable habit how can people cultivate that latter?
So resolution versus a sustainable habit, resolution is everybody that's just like following the hype. New year, new me, right? Theme of this event. Right? And then the other sustainable habit is I've been thinking about me every single year. I got a vision for what my life is, right? So it's knowing the what and the why to everything that you do versus a resolution is January 1st and looks like it's time to start cutting back on things that you would have been cut back on had you had clarity with your vision. So that will be the difference. It's just somebody who has clarity with their vision versus somebody who is waiting for January 1st.
How would you respond to someone who says they lack time?
They lack time? Well, I'll be like, hey, Elon Musk is over here posting himself in a Santa Claus outfit, and he making responses to everybody's tweets while managing multi-billion-dollar companies. So who's lacking?
What would you say to someone who says they lack money?
You lack value. Don't nobody value you, you ain't got no money, And you got to start finding ways to create a life that makes you want to take yourself on dates. Like, I want to buy that guy a beer every time I look at him in the mirror. If you can't have that mentality, there goes your bank account.
Great. So I'm going to ask you all, what are 3 key elements to take into the new year based off of TJ being in real estate, Ronnie as a tech innovator, Damon as a fitness guru, and Derek as a financial strategist. So we'll go down the road. We'll start with TJ here.
So I don't know about 3 specific things, but I will say this, something that definitely helped move the needle for me, especially as I was becoming a full-time entrepreneur, and something that I always have to keep in mind and I encourage people to take with them, especially as you get to a new year. For one, especially with us, we all have goals. We have big goals for the year. The thing is, though, we don't want to be too stretched thin, and I think a lot of us are. It's very common to make that mistake, and we see an opportunity. We're like, okay, yeah, maybe I can tap in with that, and you're doing that, and maybe you find an opportunity you want to tap in with something else. See, the thing is that you heard that phrase, the jack of all trade, master of nothing. You heard of that. Did y'all know there's a second part to that saying? So the saying goes, jack of all trade, master of none, but it's still better than a master of one, right? Mm-hmm. You see, the thing is, the goal is to master multiple things, but you can't master multiple things until you master one thing, and that's the goal. So get really truncated, get laser focused. There was an example. This professor, he was like shining this laser that has like it's a laser, but it spreads. It's not like a direct laser. So he put this laser on this balloon, and of course it had no effect. And then he put like a direct laser on a balloon, and then it popped. Right. So he was illustrating that example to show that, look, get laser focused on one thing. Don't be stretched too thin. Master that. Fire yourself if you can, right? And then start doing other things. And that's actually what moved the needle for me and all of us to have multiple businesses now.
I love that. Ronnie, as a tech innovator, what are 3 key elements to take into the new year based off of being in tech?
So I'm going to say I'm retired from tech partially. Okay. I like to call myself a creative now, an educator, even though I have been in tech for like 8 years. Mm-hmm. One thing that I will say is that I got over the construct of age this year. I saw a tweet. I'm a Twitter person, and I still call it Twitter. I don't care what Elon did. I really don't. Because we don't know when we're going to pass. Mm-hmm. So if you're 32 and you're going to pass at 50, you're old. If you are 8 years old and you don't pass until you're 81, you're young. So my mindset towards age has kind of shifted. So a lot of people, especially in my fields, going into tech, going to be a creative, they always look at their age like, I don't know if I should start yet. I don't know if I should pivot. And it's like, girl, you're only 33 years old. You have no kids, no responsibilities. Do whatever you want to do. Yeah. So that's one thing. The second thing that I will say is that there is no such thing as being original anymore. Everything is a repurposed construct of something someone else already did. So you can get rid of that whole, like, I don't want to do it because they already did it thing. Because you can copy my drip, but the sauce not gonna taste the same. That's exactly. I always say that again. You can do it, especially me. So, and then the third thing I will say is I'm a big proponent on letting fear paralyze me. And when I say like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months will go by, and I'm like, I know I should have did that. And then I look on Instagram, I'm like, that girl did it. So even because tech in our industry, I say tech. I'm on the UX UI side. So as a creative, our industry changes like daily.
Literally.
Especially with us using AI.
Of course.
It's like a daily thing that it changes. So I always tell my students to get to know your fundamentals. I'm giving out books this semester. They got me bent. These kids are not reading books no more. So this semester, we are going back to the library.
Yes.
And I'm requiring them to look at grid systems and look at the things that I had to learn in my master's, like getting time. Because the truth is, the people that are feeding AI and these technologies, they skipped. And I hate to say this. Y'all remember in COVID, there was a generation of people that went to boot camp. And they went and got their certifications, and then they broke into tech. And those are the people that are feeding AI, and they don't even know most of the grid systems and fundamentals. And that's why we have designs coming out that are offensive to cultural norms. We have things coming out that are, sorry to get nitty gritty, but using the wrong type of typefaces, accessibility is failing. We have people that have visual impairments, they can't read ads. So I'm making my students go back to the fundamentals because they're gonna be coming out of graduation, going to get hired by companies and feeding AI systems.
Yeah.
So getting to your fundamentals, and that can apply for everyone else. You can apply to form, like in the gym. If you're doing RDLs wrong, your booty not gonna get big, your back gonna hurt.
Exactly.
Real estate the same way. If you don't know the fundamentals, it's not gonna work at all. So those are the 3 things I would say.
Thank you so much. Damon, what are 3 key elements to take into the new year based off of being a fitness guru?
Okay, so for one is make your own recipe based on multiple proven recipes, right? That looks like a routine based on people that you know are admirable to you, which is going back to that topic from before. And that allows you to create your own uniqueness. I would say 2 is to ensure that you are, let me meditate on that a little bit because I want to make sure I'm wordplaying this right. Don't, ensure that you lose the mentality of being a duplicate. 7+ billion people on this planet, allegedly, right? And a lot of people oftentimes have this scarcity mind where they don't want to talk about their ideas. They take too long to take action on things because they feel like maybe somebody else gonna take it. But the reality is somebody gonna buy from you just because of your skin color. Somebody gonna buy from you just because you got a certain slur to your mouthpiece, right? You really don't know your audience until you know them. And if you operate with the mentality of, you know what, bump that, I'm just gonna go ahead and be everything that I am, as unique as I am, based on that first part, the success that I model, right, which is my unique recipe, I'm gonna be that, not worry about the competition. Ain't no real competition, right? Lose that mentality of competition is number 2 by locking in on the reality that 7+ billion people ain't buying from one trainer. They buying from whoever they really find valuable to their existence. They might be buying from you locally just because you keep posting locally, And then 3 would be is your personal routine. As a coach, I would say your personal routine and broadcasting it. Especially if you starting out as a coach, you really want to take it to the next level, you got to be faithful with the 1, and then God gonna bless you with more. So that 1 is first you. And then if you can take care of you by showing and broadcasting your routine, now people have rapport. Now people will look at you on a daily. You may not get them now, but 3 months from now, they're gonna be like, yo, I've been watching you for 3 months. You've been posting your meals, you've been reading that book, you've been going for that run, you've been hitting them workouts. I've been seeing you train that 1 person. Guess what? That 1 person now turns to 2. And then once you replicate what you've been doing with yourself and their routine in their life, that 2 turns to 4, that 4 turns to 8. Next thing you know, who needs social media? There goes a Million-Man March. That's Martin Luther King. No press. Ain't nobody about to broadcast this thing. But the reality is, he worked with one that led to millions. He was faithful with the one that led to the next. What would be my 3 points?
Thank you for that, Damon. And Derek, do you need me to repeat the question?
Yeah, repeat it one more time.
So what are 3 key elements to take into the new year based off of being a financial strategist?
Okay, so one thing about day trading, and it's kind of a hard concept for me, was understanding that losses are inevitable, right? I think people go into day trading with the wrong mindset because they see it on Instagram. And it looks like a get rich quick scheme because you're seeing so bunch of numbers and stuff like that. And for me, actually being in it, I actually realized, with time, I said, I gotta accept losses. Like that comes with the game. It's risk to reward. Losses are inevitable. Like it's a part of the game. And the one perspective, just changing that mindset, really helped me, right? And the second thing would be just consistency. A lot of individuals give up on things very quickly, right? And that's in any industry, right? One thing that kind of stuck with me being a full-time day trader for about 4 years now, I just stay consistent. And a lot of losses, for those who don't know, I lost my life savings, lost $18,000 after playing football and saving that up. I lost that, within 8 months because I didn't apply myself. I didn't have the education, right? So just building myself back up from that and understanding that, okay, if I just stay consistent, I'm going to beat out majority of the people because people give up very quickly. So that's another thing. The third point would be, I would say, confidence, right? Having the confidence in any industry that you're in is crucial because, I think everybody has that self-doubt where they're like, I don't know if I want to actually go this route or I don't really kind of believe in that. When you have that confidence and nobody can actually change that for you and you really truly believe in what you got going on, that's always going to speak volumes and that's always going to make people gravitate towards you. People can see that just by, how you act, how you operate, how you walk, how you post yourself on social media. People can see the confidence. So having that confidence has really been something big for me going into the new year and just in general.
Love that. All right, so that was really good. What'd you guys think? That was good. I want to keep going. So we're getting ready to play a game. So I'm going to pass out these dry erase boards to you guys. We're going to have a little fun with it now. So I'm going to ask you all questions, and you will answer them on the dry erase boards. I will give you about 10 seconds to answer it. And on the count of 3, you will all reveal your answers to the crowd at the same time. You guys got it? All right. All righty. So what's the number 1 commitment people make into the new year? A, save money. B, travel more. C, lose weight. Or D, reduce stress. 1, 2, 3. Let me see. I can't see y'all board. I'm a little blind. What y'all put?
Always look for the letters.
Oh, y'all got it right. Okay, look at y'all on one accord. All right, so do you purposely block people into the new year? Question mark. All right, 1, 2, 3. No. Okay, so why you still writing? What you writing? Say you gonna write a book. Pray for your enemies. Negative. Okay. So why'd you say no, Ronnie?
I like to see you calling and me not answering.
Wow.
I think that blocking people gives them the thought that she doesn't have enough boundaries or like the self-control. Mm-hmm. So I like to see the DMs come through and the message. I'm like, no, thank you. Mm. And that's probably, again, that's the Leo in me. I'm in therapy. It's okay.
How about you, TJ? TJ's face was like,
No. To each his own for sure. I don't know. I just don't have any reason to block anyone. I don't necessarily.
So you just peaceful out here.
Yeah, I guess. Hey,
Ronnie
to
calls
each his
cap.
own.
Ronnie calls cap. All right, we keeping it 100. Let's go, Damon. Why'd you say no? Or we have to pray for all of our enemies. That's a good one. I don't have any. That's a good one.
Well, I mean, you was my friend before you was my enemy, though. So if I'm blocking you, this just shows that like I really don't have confidence and confidence within myself. Like it makes me have some form of attachment to that person that I'm blocking. So for me, saying no to blocking people is the same way Jesus said yes to Judas eating with him at the table.
That's good. That's good. Amen.
So me personally, I don't really block people. I feel like it's kind of like a weak as a kind of like a guy because I don't want people having power over me to make them feel like, yo, they won. Like I'm just big on that. I'm very prideful.
Say
so
that again.
yeah. So like me
I'm trying to
personally,
marinate that in because I got a lot of people on my block list. I don't know about y'all, but Lord.
yeah, but I personally just don't block. Like I'm just gonna let you see whatever it is, what it is. Just keep it moving.
Okay. All right. So we're going to go ahead and ask a couple more questions. So should New Year's resolutions be publicly made or kept private? You could put public or private on your board. All right. You guys can go ahead and flip your boards. A little bit of both. Private. Okay, why'd you say a little bit of both, TJ?
I wanted to say that too.
So I'm actually for private goals, but I am also not opposed to sharing it with certain people that could hold you accountable.
Let's talk about accountability. Can you go a little deeper on people holding us accountable, please?
Well, yeah, I think that's important. I think that's important because you can't really grow what you can't measure, right? And so you want to kind of know how you want accountability for one to know how you're doing and how you're growing, but for two, because life is gonna life at the same time, and you want accountability to get back on track for sure.
I love that. Damon, why'd you say private?
Well, I really put liberal, but I erased it. Oh, my bad. So I initially put liberal. That just stands for somebody that's in between. Confused. But I erased it because she only gave us two choices, so I was thinking verbatim. My initial response was basically what he was gonna say. It's just like, you got certain people that you can open up to that can hold you accountable to those deeper goals. And then maybe for the public, especially if you an influencer or you out here, doing big things. Like we was just having a conversation earlier about how important that is to document the first sale on whatever new career or business you start in so you can show the Carfax. Oh. I don't know why I dropped everything just like that. But yeah, so like that's my mentality on that. Is like it can make for good use depending on what your career is or what your goals are and within your business or field. And whereas like let's say like a trademark that's not patent or maybe some really deep matters, yeah, share that to your close ones and that have your best interests,
Yeah.
Ride or dies.
Yeah. Ronnie, do we have a controversial answer from you on why we should keep our resolutions public or private? You said private, so I want to hear why.
So I have a different mindset because I don't think that my circle is like public. I think that that's still private because we don't share each other's secrets or business, and we listen and we don't judge.
Amen.
So even if I tell, like, these are my friends in the front row.
Hello, friends.
If I tell them like I really want to go to the gym 5 times a week, and then I go 3 times, they're gonna listen and they're not gonna judge. Yeah. So like if I tell the public I'm gonna go to the gym 8 times or 7 times a week, and then I don't go, it's like that's why I want to keep myself private because I gotta give myself grace. I don't want y'all to make fun of me.
Exactly.
And I don't want strangers judging me. So my friends are not like public because they'll give me grace. Well, not Jessica's a fitness influencer, so she might be like just thousands of followers.
She's your accountability buddy.
She's my accountability. So yeah.
Alrighty. And Derek, why do you believe that New Year resolutions should be kept private?
I don't know, maybe me, but like I don't like really telling my goals out to people because one, I feel like people just praying your downfall, and sometimes people are just not happy for you genuinely. So I'm really selective. You know, if I feel like maybe that individual, maybe we're on the same kind of level, we think alike, then I'll probably maybe share that because I know he's probably not gonna be hating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But some people, like you tell them your goals, and sometimes they look at you different, or they look at you in the kind of way like, oh, you're doing too much, or you know, you got too high hopes because maybe they don't see you mentally at that level or accomplishing that, or maybe your goals kind of scare them. So me personally, I just keep it to myself, you know, and then I just pop out. You know, that's just my
We're going to go into the next question. And so the question is, what percentage of people fulfill their New Year's resolutions? All right, 1, 2, 3. So according to Forbes, 94% of us dropped the ball on our commitments within 2 months, and only 6% follow through. Look at our fibers, very close.
And according to God, though, 99% drop the ball. No, I'm just playing. No, I'm just playing.
Alrighty, so we'll do a couple more questions. Give you guys some time to erase your boards. And this question reads, is it a turnoff to see someone not complete their goals? All right, and 1, 2, 3. No and yes. TJ, why you say no and yes?
Well,
no and yes.
I think it depends on the goal more so. You know, because failure is inevitable in a lot of situations. I think life, it doesn't really matter what happens to you, it's how you respond to it. So if you set a goal, like I'm gonna go to the gym 3 times a week, and you know, you fail the first week, cool, you fail the second week, but if you can consistently keep failing yourself, then that's a different thing. And so, but at the end of the day, if somebody is actually striving for something, like a goal, that they're trying to build something, it may be inevitable to get kicked in the teeth sometimes. Trust me, I built businesses and it happens. But it depends on how you respond to it, though. So I wouldn't necessarily be mad at somebody who's built something and failed, but if they consistently fail, depending on what it is, then it can be a turnoff. So it's yes and no.
Ronnie, why do you say that it is a turnoff?
I just realized I'm the only person that say yes, and I feel very bad about it.
No, you don't have to feel bad. This is a safe space. We listen and we don't judge.
Honestly, I really don't feel bad about it. My friends know that. I was just trying to.
I was doing it for the camera.
I was just trying to the optics, child. My first thought, because the question was, is it a turnoff if someone doesn't complete their goals, right? My first thought is you could have chose not to tell me. So then there's, you could have chose to keep it to yourself if you knew you wasn't really gonna do it. That's the choice. And then second, I also look at people's process. So if you tell me, Ronnie, I am going to make $1 million, right? And between the hours of 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., you are doing absolutely Nathaniel with your time. You're just looking at TV and you're like, I only need one big break. I only need one viral video. That to me is also failing. I'm also very strict about process and goals. I'm a type A personality, so yep, there we go.
I love that answer. Derek, why did you say, I didn't see your board. Did you say yes or no? You said no. Okay. Oh, it depends on the situation. Why did you say it depends on the situation?
I just feel like, you know, whenever you're writing goals down, just depending on the goal, what it is, you know, I feel like it could fluctuate. Like, let's say I have a mindset like, okay, I want to make $50,000 in the year, right? And I went, did everything I could, right? And for some reason, I only made $49,000. Am I going to consider that still a failure? Nah, it's because what if I learned and I grown and I became a better person out of it? You see what I'm saying? So I can't necessarily say that just because someone doesn't complete their goals, it's going to turn me off. Because what if they became a better person in the process? What if they had a better character development? There's certain things as well in situations. Now, if they went against their word, like let's say they said, hey, I'm gonna stop eating this, X, Y, and Z to lose this weight, right? And it's something as far as their word and they're coming off their word, that's a little bit different because myself, I'm big on my word. And anything I put out there as far as, in the society, I always want to make sure I stay true to that. So now if they're not doing that as far as following up with their word, I feel like at that point now, I don't really respect that.
Thank you for that. Damon, do you find it tiring as a fitness trainer when you see the same clients not reach their fitness goals and tell you the same thing every year? The same thing every year. Do you find it tiring?
I don't have not one client that is not locked in. If you're not locked in, you about to be locked in. That's just what's going to happen.
So do you fire your clients?
No, I'm so good at what I do, man.
So how do they become locked in? I'm very curious.
Well, okay. Now, let's put it in this context. There's some people that get slower progress, right? Because they just lazy as can be. But, like, I'm patient. I'm not a drill sergeant. I'm not here trying to force people to do what they need to do, So I think it just, for me personally, as long as you're showing up, as long as you are getting some progress, slow progress is still progress. But I've never had a situation where a client's not making progress. So I'm very empathetic with where they are. And so that's what I would say.
Yeah, does it get annoying when people ask you how to get into the field you're in and they have no plan behind it?
Well, I don't know about annoyed per se. I don't think I get annoyed. I just try to encourage them because a lot of people, what they lack is they lack belief in themselves. And what I tell people is, listen, you're capable. You just need more wins. Decide that you're going to do something, even if it's small. And in my field, we make offers all the time. One of the things that I specialize in and our students jam out on is we buy real estate, and we love buying deals without banks, right? And we love doing deals creatively. And so when you do deals like that, you have to be willing to make offers and talk to sellers. And so we always have goals, and these are many people that you're going to talk to today and things like that. But when they realize when they lack and when they fail, when they don't move the needle, is I tell them, listen, give yourself more smaller wins. Give yourself a goal that you're going to achieve, and actually achieve it, because now you're actually sowing that seed to yourself. So that's what I would say for sure. Give yourself some wins, set some goals that you can actually achieve. Give yourself some wins, and make yourself a proof of concept, essentially.
Thank you for that. All right, so we're going to pick up our boards, and I have 2 final questions for you guys.
Let's go.
The company you keep in the new year determines your future. Yes or no? You can say maybe, maybe so. The company you keep in the new year determines your future. Yes. Okay, Damon, why'd you say no?
No, so I'm a big believer, like, you got people that are just here loners. Like, they could just do it all on their own. Like, and they probably take entertainment with people who are not completely like they are because of their introvertedness, right? Like, so I believe that if we look at company, if you spend time with people who are chaotic, but it's only one day out of the week, right? But you spend 6 other days locked in and you really getting that much done, your future is very bright, And essentially company is what you spend your time on, You might spend time reading books by this author who's more of a friend to you than somebody who's actually currently existing, in your present reality. Like, so, you got a lot of oddballs out there that spend more time working on themselves and learning through exchanges, whether that's seminars, workshops. They may not even have friends. but yet they're very successful. And, but I do believe that if you do have people that you see in the flesh, eye to eye, that it can help significantly. But is that going to determine your future? Absolutely not.
Thank you for that. Ronnie, your friends are here, so I would love for you to answer this question on why you said yes.
They are all great people. No, in real life, I believe that it's very controversial. I'm sorry. People are a product of their environment to a certain extent. And I'm a product of that. So my mom went to art school, and that's probably why I thought that design and art was like literally the only thing I could do, because I grew up around it. My uncle's a graphic designer, cousin's Red Bull art. Like, it's just a product of that. And I feel like, to give a real world example, because I am more assertive, so I apologize. Like, let's say that I spent my life as a 32-year-old single woman with no kids with girls that like to party every single day, pop bottles, and smoke hookah. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but we weren't doing anything else besides where the men at, let's pop bottles and smoke hookah every single day. Would my life look different than if I were around my current friends that are like, let's do this 5K. Let's get you in the gym. Let's do our natural hair. Let's do a self-care Sunday. Would my life look, let's go to church. Like, let's read a book. Would my life look different in that same 365 days a year? And I also am a big proponent of nepotism. We see that in the industry. Nas is Yara Shahidi's second cousin. Brandy, Ray J, and Snoop Dogg are first cousins. There's like a lot of people that are real life blood relatives that we don't even see. Like Kendrick grew across the street from DJ Mustard. Like, people that you surround yourself with, once you get on, you put that person on in your circle. We network across without even knowing it. So I'm a big proponent of that. Like, even people in this room, I'm gonna get some of y'all numbers. I peeped. I like the fits. I'm gonna talk to y'all. So I'm a big proponent of that.
Yeah,
Please.
love that response. Derek, why'd you say yes?
I saw a quote, and everybody probably seen the same quote, at least on Instagram. They say, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." And before, when I first seen it, I'd be like, I didn't really believe in it, But this year, I was really intentional with who I surrounded myself with, and I had an amazing year. Like, God bless me, man. I had the best year I've ever had off of just surrounding myself by people that motivate me, people that I look around and they're always doing something positive. They're always encouraging. So I learned this year to put myself around people that I want to become like, and people that, push me into the right direction. So I think myself, I always want to be surrounded by people that got things going on, right? I don't want to be people that take away from me or make me rethink or doubt anything that I got going on or take away from me. I want to be about like-minded individuals that push me to become the best version of myself. And because I did that, I had the year that I had. And like I said, I hope somebody can just take that same information and apply it.
Yeah, it says a lot about putting your pride aside. One thing I was talking about with someone was the value of mentorship. People who are mentored are successful. I mean, even on day to day, you go on your job, your first day, what do? They train you, right? To be that person to be the subject matter expert at your job. What if everyone here had a mentor in different areas of their life that they know they can't hold themselves accountable to, whether that's finances, right? Real estate, fitness. We would all do so much better if we had people that we looked up to or looked next to and not allow the comparison to be the thief of our joy.
While your world around you may say one thing, you may not have a choice. That's all you got. You're going to listen to that every day. Maybe your big brother going to look at you and tell you you're an idiot, because you keep trying to do what you want to do, but it's not going to work. Or maybe you got all your cousins discouraging you. But if you have just one person that you truly believe in that's doing what you love, that's enough. Even if you don't know them, you never met them, that's enough. If you counterfeit all that energy and dial in on that one or two or three and believe quietly, because publicly, don't nobody believe it.
Yeah.
Eventually, the public gonna see it, and then they're gonna accept it. So that's why I said no, because my company growing up was not supportive at all. Now they support me like as if they always had.
Same here. Same here. Yeah.
One mistake that I made when I first started day trading, like I said, I know I told you I lost $18,000 when I first started. I didn't have a mentor. I was just so prideful. I think it was the Nigerian in me. I'm just like, no, I'm gonna figure this out on my own. Like, I'm just gonna do it full speed. And had I had a mentor, I wouldn't have lost all that money, but because I let my pride get in the way with my actual goals, if I would have actually said, hey, you know what, someone that has the success that I want, if I would have reached out to them and just, hey, if they had a fee or whatever, they wanted as far as their time or what, exchange I could have done, I would have streamlined my process and I would probably got to where I'm at very faster. Yeah. So if there's anything as far as one thing I've learned, if you want to streamline your process, it's so important to get a mentor because that's going to 10x and it's going to put you in a better position. Yeah. And you're going to learn so much information that had you not, if you would just try to figure it out on your own.
Yeah. And so at this time, we want to open the floor to the audience and let you guys ask some questions. Off your chest, please raise your hand and we will call on you.
My name is Easy. I just have one question for you guys. How do you know a mentor who is really for you, or when do you know it's the right time to get a mentor?
I think it's just reflecting on where you're at. Like myself, I want to hop into another business venture myself, so I went ahead and invested into a new mentor for that business. So I think it just all depends on where you're at, where you see yourself. If you see yourself in a really good position or you see yourself not having the results that you want, then I feel like it's more important to get a mentor in that situation. Or if you're gravitating to a new business, maybe it'll be a smart way to get a mentor so that way you can streamline the process.
And to back up on that, so before you get a mentor, do you necessarily have to be at a certain level, or it doesn't matter what level you are before you get a mentor?
I feel like it's at any level. If you want to scale up and go to the next level, if that person has the results that you want, I feel like it's important to get the mentor.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Real quick, that being at a certain level, like oftentimes, people who are very successful, like I know a lot of friends of mine that I'm really close to that are super, just like these folks right here, killing it. And as long as you have something that's relatable or of interest to them, like you might party really like wow, and they just love that. Or you're young and they're like, yo, I want to hang out with you because you're fit, you're young, you're attractive. Or maybe you got, I'm not going to try to knock all the ladies here. Maybe you got access to women that they don't. And they're like, how do you do it? And that's typically a thing, especially for like us young folk, where a lot of people that are very successful, they want to hang around with us because of how we look or what the status is, right? But ultimately, yeah, like he said, you just, regardless of what level you are, that's accessible to all of us. But urgency, more than anything, is like you just gotta work with somebody that's willing to work with you. You're gonna get a lot of rejections, and you may have that one person that just says, yo, I got too much. Here's the advice, and here's like $20,000 just because you asked. You have some weird encounter.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off of that too. So there's levels too with mentorships. I remember when I was getting into wholesale and real estate back in 2015. I paid a mentor to help me get to doing. We were doing 1 or 2 deals a month. I was trying to get to 5 deals a month, right? But now we focus on commercial real estate, right? And my mentor that now mentors me on the commercial side is a totally different mentor, totally different price tag. So it's levels to it. It also depends on where you're at for sure.
Real quick, because I want to make sure this is measurable for you. What industry are you in? Like, what do you do?
Actually, I'm in multiple industries, fitness and entertainment. I'll say that.
Okay, so because I'm in education, the one thing that I'll say is piggybacking off of both of y'all. I never paid for a mentor. All mine happened on accident. I think they just liked me. But the first thing that they asked me is, "What have you done this far?" So when I was talking to them about being my mentor, they asked me first, like, "Okay, so what have you done so far?" So I think that avoiding just starting and just getting mentorship is crucial. Like, do some work on your own and figure out what works and what it doesn't work, so you don't waste that person's time too.
So basically, have the basic knowledge before you get to a mentor.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Lady, hi. Okay. Kind of just in the spirit of, the upcoming new year, to kind of give, the audience like encouragement and people who have thoughts about doing stuff in this new year. I would kind of like to hear like one success story or moment or achievement or deal that you guys had when you first switched over to whatever you're doing now, or decided to make a big change that made you feel like, okay, I'm actually doing this, or I'm happy I made this switch, or whatever it is.
So for me, this year, I went from being, and I don't want this to go over anyone's head because I don't know who works in education, but it's kind of unheard of to go from adjunct at a community college to adjunct at a university to full-time position within a year. Like, I skipped a lot of steps, and I owe all that to God because I feel like he doesn't put you in a position that you can't handle, because they created a position for me at Sam. Like, I was driving, y'all know where Sam is, in Huntsville? Yeah, I live in Spring. So I was driving there 4 times a week to cover for someone on medical leave, and they saw value in me, and I told them I hated my job, and they literally got the budget together and created a position for me right when I was about to quit. They did that. So that was my big win, like full-time salary. Yay.
So one thing that helped me this year, man, I really just got over the fear of caring what people think. I think everybody deep down, maybe you want to create content or maybe you want to do X, Y, and Z for your business. I feel like deep down you care, and that's what's kind of holding you hostage. I don't know if anybody feels like that, but for me, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like, whenever you're able to like go and speak about something you enjoy doing, whether it's a passion or, something that really just gets you going, it's a blessing to be able to like, oh, I can create content from this or X, Y, and Z. It's like, a breath of fresh air. And for anybody that struggles with that, one thing that, snap. One thing that kind of helped me was to just practice every day, right? Practice in silence every day. I feel like when you're practicing at your craft every day, whether it's recording videos or ideas, and just kind of like what I talked about earlier in the panel, I talked about execution. Sometimes in your mind, you deep down know, okay, this is what I want to do, or if this is an idea I have, start acting on that. That acting can be the difference between a life change as far as whenever you're able to put that content out there. Like, you never know who's watching, you never know who's looking at, whatever you're putting at. That can be a big difference. I was able to gain, I think, 20,000 followers this year off of just putting myself out there, and the connections and the networking that I've made from that has been life-changing. So anybody that's struggling with that, that's what I struggled with, you just got to do it, and you do it in silence, and it's eventually just being consistent every single day. It's going to come out to fruition, and people can see that.
I would say this year, something that I made a huge shift on was like, a lot of y'all probably don't know about me, but I mean, I've been training for a good minute, and a huge part of my career, about 3, almost 4 years, was with this company called Alpha Land. And I had this deep desire to become a partner with that facility, to create my own equity within the company through my own formats, my own group training programs. And I did all these monumental tasks. Like, I brought 60 active members to the gym within 3 months at damn near $300 per person that's contracted in for a year plus. It's like unheard of that coaches can do. And I invested so much that I expected a return on that in the form of me having a meeting with the owner and, to do all these things that I really wanted to do that were going to bring value to his pockets and the customers at the gym, servicing the people all across the board. And things didn't go as I planned. So 2024, the beginning, I ended up leaving. And shout out to my boy Prince, who's in the audience. You know, he welcomed me in to transition all my clients to his facility as an independent contractor. And, you know, I went from a very egocentric, numbers only to a service prioritizing like I would always post me, you know, like most influencers do. And I went from that to just focusing on my clients, posting them all the time on my stories, which I didn't do in those 3 years. Like I did, like I would post them, but I was not highlighting my people so that like if you were to look at my feeds on social media.
Yeah, I would like to. Okay, I would like to ask this question, and it's coming from me. So I wanted to ask, when taking risk, because when taking risks, how do you deal with panic attacks?
I can't say I can confidently speak to it per se because I haven't dealt with that personally, or at least I don't think I have, honestly, just in terms of the panic attack per se. But I have definitely felt overwhelmed, right? And I don't know if you heard what I mentioned earlier about. I know for me, and I can just speak from my experience. I was very, very busy. I was stretched way too thin. I was very busy, but I wasn't productive, if that makes sense, right? And I felt like I was running on a treadmill, but I was tired all the time, right? So it wasn't until I started, yeah, I'm done with this, take this off, I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, I'm done with that, I'm not. So when I got laser focused, right, and that's when everything changed, right? Remember what we talked about earlier, jack of all trade, master of none, but it's still better than a master of one. And so for me, that's what helped move the needle for me. It kind of helped me get mental clarity on what I really wanted to do for sure. But I definitely feel you, bro.
I think I always just keep in mind whenever I'm taking a risk. I mean, for those who know, I'm a day trader, so I do that practically every day. I really just focus on preparation. I feel like when you have a lack of preparation, that's what's going to kind of like gravitate towards that panic attack. But whenever I'm prepared and whenever I put myself in the best position to win, and I study or I put myself as far as learning my material, going over my fundamentals, I always seem to find success. And even if I do not find success in that situation, I'm always okay with the outcome because I prepared and put myself in the best position to win.
Having like that anxiety on that level can be easily dealt with through putting yourself through tasks on a daily that are very uncomfortable. That may be like a cold shower or some ice that you submerge yourself into, staying in that sauna for 30 minutes, you know, doing a breathing technique that makes your heart beat to where you feel like your head is you're just gonna black out. So like the more you do uncomfortable things on a daily, the more authoritative you will be. And the more authoritative you are, you have that mentality of stay ready, you don't gotta get ready.
Patience, I know, I see you, baby. I had a debilitating panic attack December 10th where I was hospitalized. So mine is more like mindset. Actually, it's also a diagnosis. I have a heart condition also. But I'm also one of those people that can't take anxiety. So what I'll say to you, I'm a big advocate for therapy, and I have a psychiatrist and a therapist. They are different. And the biggest way to tackle any large task is one bite at a time. So that's the best way to eat an elephant. I'm an overthinker. So when I said, I remember December 10th, I was thinking about 2 different things. And those 2 things became 4, which became 10, which became 16. And like live and live in color, I had an acute heart attack, like within 15 minutes. So I say that to say people our age do deal with things a little bit different. So because I'm an overthinker, I have to literally now I have to stop, pause, and think about, is it really that serious? And 9 times out of 10, it's really not. It's really not that serious. It's just a boy. It's just a job.
Okay, my question is on the topic of burnout. So, like, we're talking about, going into the new year, being our best self and everything. I just wanted to know, have you guys experienced burnout? What did that look like for you, and how did you sort of overcome it? Because
Yeah, exactly what I was speaking about earlier. I definitely have experienced it, felt it. Definitely had too much on my plate. On top of kind of taking those weight off, working out. I'm big in the gym as well. I found a lot of a lot of balance can happen at the gym. A lot of therapy sessions can happen at the gym. We get the clanging and banging. It's just, I can find the gym to be pretty peaceful, at least for me, at least. So yeah, but all that as a combination for sure.
I'll answer that as well. Sorry, her question was on burnout, and I just had a session with my psychiatrist yesterday about burnout. Prioritize rest. One thing, hustle culture is very well known. I do like 3 or 4 different things, and I'm in school full time taking 5 classes. And one thing she asked me is, what can you take off of your plate? Like he mentioned, right? So it's really looking at your life and looking where can you, what can be taken out and put to the side, right? And what can you implement, like he mentioned, that will affect your personal life. And so for me was community. I mean, being overextended and burnt out doesn't allow you to pour yourself or allow people to pour into you, right? And so having that balance is very important, and looking at everything like, hey, I'm in college, 5 classes. I'm a wedding content creator. I'm a nanny. Like looking at everything, where can I cut back and also pour into myself? I'm not pouring into myself. So how can I pour into others? And so also redefining what's important to you. I think that's very important as well when you're going through burnout. It's not always about the money. I can definitely say that because God will provide, number 1. And number 2, in the burnout, I will say this, is where you truly realize a lot of things about yourself and what you can or cannot handle, and what you're realizing that you cannot handle and you're realizing is not working out for you. That is where you need to dive in. That's where you need to lock in, because that's only going to help you grow personally and professionally. But just want to answer that.
I love that last point. Question specifically, I would say for TJ, and this is on the topics of following your passion and also just sustainability, because I say this as I believe in the saying that if you love what you do, you'd never have to work a day in your life, right? And I also believe in the saying that if you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? So in terms of you trying to chase a passion, a goal that might be maybe bigger than yourself at the time, at one point did you, also I know a little bit of your story, so it's a little different, but at one point did you think, I can really do this thing, especially in an industry that you may not be familiar with, like entrepreneurship or whatever the case may be? Like at one point where you, I guess maybe where you're in it, or prior to you being in it, where you were like, you know what, I feel like I can do this, and it obviously turned out.
Yeah, I would tell you that I could easily say, well, after my first deal, I knew it was possible, right? I knew that I knew what was possible. Here's the reality of the situation. When I closed my first real estate deal, it was a wholesale deal, my very first deal. I paid a coach to learn how to wholesale real estate. And I closed my first deal within 2 weeks of getting started. So I sent out my first marketing campaign. It was a yellow letter campaign. I talked to maybe 10 people offering them my services to buy their property, help them get out of their situation. And then I ended up getting a deal, and I made $7,500. I put this deal on the contract, and without buying the property, I just sold the contract for an additional $7,500 more. So I was like, oh my goodness, this thing works. I'm about to quit being an engineer tomorrow. We're about to run this thing up. And so I was like, okay, I felt like I had arrived. I said, okay, man, we can make this thing happen. I put every single dollar I made back into the business, into marketing, to do the same thing again in the same marketing efforts to generate more deals. I mentioned the first deal took me 2 weeks to do. Ask me how long it took me to get the second deal. 6 months. Here's the thing. I say that to say that I realized that I was capable, not because I closed the deal. I realized I was capable when I realized that in my mind, I've decided to be consistent enough until. Right? Until. And how long, how Nipsey say it? How long should I say dedicated? How long till opportunity meets preparation? Until. You do it until. If it's something that you really want. And you know it. See, and that's why we need a vision at the same time. So I put every dollar back in the market. All that money went within a month, within a month. So it was a consistent failure after failure after failure after. I'm like, man, what happened? I thought I could do that. What happened? But it took me 6 months to close my very next deal. And I almost gave up at least 4 times in the process, right? But when I realized that, okay, you're capable, and not only capable, you're willing to stay in the game enough. That's how I knew I was gonna make it. That makes sense.
Thanks for sharing. Real quick question for y'all. Can you share a time when you faced rejection or failure in your professional journey or career path, and how you turned that experience into growth or opportunity and a learning moment?
I was thinking, because I'm freelance design, like you submit a lot of bids for companies, especially when you get on the corporate side. So I face rejection a lot. I just don't take it personally because I feel like I'm like a weird thinker. Like no one understands me for real. I think that the more rejections I get, the closer I am to getting a yes. Except for when it comes to like certain things, like we're talking about jobs. Now, personal relationships, friendships and stuff, I take rejection really bad. I'm working on it. But when it's job related, I don't take it personally like at all. I actually take it more so like, oh, you just want less, you don't want me, and some people just want less. That's what my mom taught me. It's not even me. My mom said some people just want less. So that's like my mentality when it comes to like money, jobs, opportunity. Y'all just don't align. Like, especially when it's like creative careers, like our design styles are probably different. I'm really just not the designer for you. I don't take it personally. But hopefully that answers.
Pass.
Are you serious?
I don't get rejected, man. I'm gonna get to it.
I mean, for me, day trading has been definitely a lot of highs and a lot of lows. One moment that kind of just defined me was like, I ended up losing practically. So I had a really good year, and the next following year, I practically almost lost everything. And it was a humbling experience for me because it's like, man, you do so well in the industry and you make a good amount of money and you feel like you know what you're doing. And then to see everything just turn in an instant, and it was just like, in the span of 8 months, I'm talking about I'm losing 6 figures plus off everything I built. And it was a very discouraging thing for me because what it made me do, it made me get my faith better in God, right? And it humbled me, right? The person I was when I was doing really good during that time, I was a different person. I was more cocky, conceited. I wasn't actually my true version of myself. God brought me back down to reality, and he made me appreciate him a little bit more, and he made me show me what was actually important. So it was a very pivotal point in my career because at that moment I could have went back and started, being an accountant because that's what I majored in. But I actually stuck with it thanks to my brother down there to the right. It was a very hard moment for me, but seeing that I was able to stick through that during that down moment, I was able to get through that. It was life-changing. At that point, I was able to build myself and restart over, just baby steps. And those baby steps molded me into now, and all those lessons I learned along the journey has kind of molded me into the man I am today. So whatever you're going through, man, or whatever experience that you're facing in adversity, understand that God has a purpose for you, and understand those lessons that he's putting you through is to better you, right, and put you in a better position so that way whenever he does build you back up, you don't make those same mistakes again and you become a better person.
So obviously as an entrepreneur, you run your own business, you got your own stuff going, you got to make your own schedule. With rejections, that's like a common thing. So like whenever I experienced rejection on that level to where I knew it was going to cost me, like maybe rent, like back, like you name it, like whatever hardship that is, right? It's like you have to dial in on the workload that is required, whether that's door to door or posting more or reaching out to everybody in your contact list. Like it forces you, for me, to dial in and ensure that even if you get one no, you got like 10 yeses that you're going to get. You're going to fish. You're not just going to wait for somebody to just approve of you. You're going to show yourself approved by doing your due diligence. So like hustle, even though that's not the culture, hustle more and lock in on that.
Absolutely great insights from everyone. Just in the spirits of goal setting that I feel a lot of us, or a lot of people are in right now. What would be some really effective goal setting strategy that you can share with people? As we all know, goal setting is important. However, I just feel like there are more effective ways to go about it. A lot of people set goals, but like we said, only 5% or 6% really achieve it. But what would be some effective strategies that you would share with people?
I'll say, and by the way, people, when it comes to goal setting, it's different to each his own in a sense, because the way I may approach it and my strategy, it could work for me but not work for you at the same time. So, but for me, I like to kind of look at the overall big picture, then I like to kind of get a little more granular and truncate. So what we want to achieve, what we want the end of 2025 to look like, but in order to do that, what has to happen every quarter? And in order for what has to happen every quarter, what has to happen every month for the quarterly goals to happen, and what has to happen every week for the monthly goals to happen, and what actions literally do you need to make sure that you're doing every single day, that is it actually feeding your goals, right? Are these goal fitting activities? And so we have to be considerate in that. So I think when it comes to goal setting, we also have to get really granular, look at what are we doing every single day to support our goals. So I think you should set your goals, but set goals in terms of getting a little more focused and more truncated weekly, monthly, and even daily sometimes, depending.
Same thing. I'm in education, so I'm a writer. I have a planner. So I have weekly goals, monthly goals, and actually stop at quarter because I feel like quarterly goals kind of accumulate on the year. So weekly goals are usually like gym and diet for me. Monthly goals is finances, and then quarterly goals are personal because I give myself a lot more grace. Personal goals, so it might be like going to the therapist X amount of times, seeing my friends X amount of times. They don't know that, so I just expose myself. But those are the more like grace driven goals, and those things help me with my anxiety because it makes things like a lot more tangible. Because if you like keep up with the gym every week, all year, 4 times a week, you're gonna get your yearly goal. So
Simple acronym to a word: set SMART goals. That just means specific, measurable, attainable, and time driven. So specific goals, whether that's personal, business, you name it. Measurable, that means like you can't be like, yo, I want $10,000. How you gonna break that down? What is one client gonna pay you? Are there different packages for that? Is there a specific product, different kinds of products that sell more than others or sell higher than others?
As y'all know, what it's like kind of being an entrepreneur full time, you have to really just be accountable. So what I like to do personally, I'm really more day to day. I like to kind of write down everything I have to do to the day. It can be as simple as just take out the trash, because I feel like for me, this is how I work. Whenever I'm constantly just checking things off my checklist, it kind of brings that consistency, breeds motivation, and it makes me want to just keep going because now at that point, I'm like, okay, I got this done, I got this done, I got this done, and it just makes me want to go harder. That's just how I am. So what I do, I just set tasks every single day as far as what's important, what I got to get done, what's the main thing that I want to accomplish for the day. I attack those things first, and then I focus on the small things. And as you may know, as time goes by, I look up and I've accomplished all the goals that I want for the week and for the month due to my day-to-day action. So,
Just lastly, give yourself a deadline. I think a lot of people set goals and they just this is the goal, and we just hope to accomplish it by the end of the year. Like even with your goals, give yourself a deadline for each your monthly, like what we talked about earlier.
Alrighty, so that is all the time we have. Before we close out, I'd like to let the panelists share any advice or any closeouts. We'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I mean we talked about a lot, and I think this is pretty dope, and it was a true honor for sure. And so I mean, I'm open to connecting and staying tapped in for sure. So yeah, but this was an honor. Appreciate y'all for having me.
oh, I'm good. I have no. I think I gave it all up.
Hey, I and you and me. All right. I bleed. I use the toilet. We're all human. And, me sitting here is you sitting there. You sitting there is me sitting there. So just make sure you have that quiet belief that whatever you see is a product of who you are. And you get to decide to see where that goes at any moment.
It's a blessing and an honor to be here, man. Hope to connect with all of you and network.
Boom, boom. Hey, Simone.